Well, today's mission is to try and put the drive gear back on the crankshaft, and there's a few things that have to happen. First of all, we have to make sure that the crankshaft, without the nut tightened, the crankshaft nut that holds the drive gear on, hasn't already got a run out, dial out issue using a dial indicator. And also then I've had to secure Loctite 648 for the thread locker, which wasn't easy to get. And once we tighten everything down, we've got to make sure that the washer, the thrust washer behind the nut between the drive gear and the nut, stays central. It's loose on the shaft, as I'll show you. And once we've tightened everything down, we've got to do the dial run out on the crank run out again to make sure that it's not slightly bent as a result of torquing down the nut, apparently, and according to the Rotax manuals. Hi, I am Stuart and I fly Sparkle's Microlight. In this episode, we will continue the rebuilding of Sparkle's Microlight. So first thing I've got to do is the crankshaft run out. Then we're going to clean the threads thoroughly on the nut and the crankshaft. Put the thrust washer on, hand tighten the nut, and then check the the washer is centralized. Before we put the nut on, of course, we've got a Loctite inside the threads. Put the nut on, hand tighten, centralize the washer, torque it down, and do the dial run out and make sure that it is correct. Now, in order to be able to tighten down the nut to the torque, obviously the crankshaft will want to rotate. And while I'm doing this, I've got all the spark plugs out anyway to make it easier to rotate the crankshaft. But we don't want the crankshaft to rotate, do we? So we've got to use the locking pin that goes in the side of the crankcase to go into that first lobe of the crankshaft to lock the crankshaft thoroughly in place. These are the tools that we'll be needing today. Well, probably more than I'll need, but the socket, the torque wrench, the thread locker. We've got the nut and the washer here. We've got a dial run out indicator, some spanners, and a few other bits and pieces. I've got to also be able to mount the dial gauge onto the crankcase, and that's why I have that bolt there. That's actually for the gearbox, and we'll be fitting it via this lug here, hopefully. I've already slipped the gear onto the crankshaft, and this is the part we do the run out on to make sure it hasn't got a warp in it after we torque everything down. These are the threads I've got to clean. So it looks fairly straightforward, but that's yet to be determined. The way the weather is in Australia at the moment, it's humid, it's been raining a lot, the grass has been growing so fast, and as you can hear, every day there has been mowers, whippersnippers, and everything has been going on. So it's impossible to film without mowers these days. Let's get on with this. Okay, so it goes on that way. So the center is the piece coming out. Loctite 648. Now these, you pull the lid up here. And I believe you're supposed to put the Loctite in the actual nut. Three drops of that. Now, I'm going to work fairly quickly here. I suppose I shouldn't have done it that way now that I look at it. Got to get this centered up. Dead centered. I have got the locking nut in for the crankshaft as well. How long have I got? centered. Now it's left-hand thread. Get on there. Okay. Oh, I should have got it. Oh, I should have got a rod. Oh, it broke. I don't know if it's on properly. Did that come out? You're kidding me. I had a break about this. I'm stuffed it on. I broke the torque wrench. So I guess it wasn't adequate, and now I don't know if it's the right torque, and I've got to take it all off again.